Are you a believer or are you a truth seeker? Yeah, they're not the same thing. I know. Most of us are thinking, what's the difference between a believer and a truth seeker? There's actually a pretty large difference. See, in every field, whether it's medicine, whether it's politics, whether it's engineering, it doesn't really matter what field. This is true in every profession. This is true even in school growing up. It's true in religion, especially in religion. You have predominantly two different kinds of people in all of those professions in life, right? You have believers, people, and let me classify what do I mean by believer? I mean, believers are people who have really identified with a certain set of beliefs, and this set of beliefs gives them a sense of comfort, a sense of well-being, a sense of knowing how the world works, and there's a lot of comfort. And people typically identify with the system of belief, whatever it may be. But because they have identified with a certain belief system, they become very invested, okay? That's by and far the majority of people. There's a comfort in knowing that they belong to a group of people that pretty much think the same way. Now, that's not a problem until they come across folks who are what I call truth seekers, okay? Truth seekers are very, very different in their disposition. See, the truth seekers tend to be a minority of any group, but a study of history, you can find them throughout history. You can find them in any profession, right? Be it medicine, be it law and politics, be it religion. Really doesn't matter what profession. In any group or subset, you will have believers and you have truth seekers. Now, what makes a truth seeker a truth seeker? It's a great question. Truth seekers do not have the aim of fitting in or belonging or even a sense of certainty that they know what's true. Truth seekers actually have an aim of liberation. They want to know where the boundaries are, where the edges are, and they seek to go and transcend and go beyond the boundaries. In any profession, school of thought, be it religion, be it politics, be it medicine, doesn't really matter. They're looking for the edges and the boundaries, and they want to know what those are because they want to transcend them. See, a truth seeker has an aim of total freedom and liberation. So a truth seeker has no problem letting go of a belief system that keeps them from the goal of liberation. Now, this can really upset a believer. Totally upsets a believer. So if you find yourself, and here's how you know, people ask me all the time, well, I want to be a truth seeker, but what if I'm a believer, right? And there's a little bit of fear there. Well, here's how you can know if you're a believer, right? Believers tend to get very upset when somebody else presents information that contradicts their belief. They feel maybe unnerved, they maybe feel a little bit of fear, but they also get upset and defensive. If you get upset and defensive when somebody else has information that may contradict your beliefs, good chance that you're a believer in this situation. Yeah. Another indicator that you may be a believer is you tend to want to classify and pigeonhole certain groups of people, right? So if there's somebody who doesn't believe what you believe, you may come up with a label, you classify them, and then you kind of dismiss them, right? So if it's a political conversation, maybe that person's a conservative, or maybe that person's a liberal, right? If it's a medical conversation maybe it's about science or anti-science. So just through the labels, you kind of dismiss without actually having to look at the substance of the conversation. So that's typically what the behavior of believers do: label and disregard, right? Truth seekers, however, they have a high capacity for openness, to be able to hold space for even people and beliefs that they do not agree with. Why is that? Why do they have space for that? It's not because they just believe everything. No. It's because they're actually they have an aim of seeking and knowing the truth, because their aim is liberation. So if you're a truth seeker, you tend to have high capacity to be open to lots of different kinds of people with lots of different kind of belief systems and ideas, not because you believe and agree with everything, but because you have an aim of going beyond the limiting boundaries that have been holding you back, because your aim as a truth seeker is liberation. But Truth seekers have no problem letting go. No matter how much time and energy they've invested in a previous belief system, they have no problem letting it go because they are after total liberation. So my question for you today is this: are you a believer or are you a truth seeker?